Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale Batman vs Superman figure unboxing and review. Today we're taking a look at the Deluxe 2.0 die-cast version of Armored Batfleck. I have been so freaking excited to get this. You all know Batfleck is my guy, and he's finally here. Now, I picked up mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new Snyderverse content goes live. Now, when this guy was announced, I was sitting there thinking, look, it's pretty cool, but does it really need the 2.0 treatment? Because the first 3 versions, yes, you heard that correctly, 3 versions, were already outstanding. We got the clean one, then the black chrome one, then the battle damage one. Now this. Out of all of the figures in the BVS line, I reckon Armored Batman probably needed the 2.0 treatment the least. Wonder Woman, Superman, Nightmare Batman, they desperately need updating, but that does not mean I am not keen for this. Die-cast, battle damage pieces, they've actually got the likeness to Ben Affleck this time, and USB-C powered light-ups, plus a diorama display base. Cannot wait to get stuck in. As for the box art, slipcover has multiple screenshots from the movie on the surface. This is Ben in costume. There's a metallic finish over the entire thing. BVS logo, then his name at the bottom. This video is brought to you by JustinsCollection.shop, the home of the figure first aid kit, as well as other accessories to help your collection be the best it can be. The first aid kit contains multiple tools to help you with maintenance, styling rooted hair, and much more. We also sell crotch grabbers, soft rubber tips to prevent damage, and they're compatible with most modern Hot Toys base molds. Acrylic risers come in multi-packs. They're optically clear, thick and sturdy, and stackable. Check out the link to JustinsCollection.shop in the description. And this is a really hefty box. It's sizable, it's chunky, and it's extremely heavy. On the side of the box, the image from the front cover wraps around the edge, and we've got this textured effect to the blue background. On the back, some bat symbols, big one behind the warnings, legal information, and Hot Toy store locations. Okay, this is going to be a fun one. Underneath the slipcover, open window showcasing Batman and all of his accessories inside. He comes with a serious amount of stuff. Digging the blue as well for the inner box, and this picture on the back of it is one of my favorite posters from the movie. Ben Affleck once again in costume in the armored bat suit. Then over the top, a textured big honkin' bat symbol. Super curious to compare this back to the 1.0 and the first version of Battle Damage Armored Batman. Not sure if the 2.0 will be displayed battle damaged or clean yet, but holy shit. First in-hand impressions for this, he weighs a ton. You can feel every ounce of that die-cast, and all of the armor plates that are metal are very cold to the touch. What we're going to do now is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box, and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first, y'all know me, huge fan of diorama bases. When they work, when they are functional as bases, first and foremost. You see, Hot Toys, they tend to get carried away with making something look good versus actually work as a base. And that's happened here. Dean mentioned this in his review for Armored Batman, and I hate to say the exact same thing, but it's just not big enough. Like, footprint-wise, it's sizable, but the amount of real estate we have to work with to pose Batman on the display base is microscopic. You're probably going to need to have 1 foot on the base and 1 off, because this is simply not enough space. At least, visually speaking, it's beautiful. All of the texture, the rubble, the shading, we've got grey up front with this speckling effect, then green and red shading. It's even detailed around the back. And 2 different ports for the flight pole to plug into, hidden by removable rocks. Unfortunately, it's not a very secure fit for the flight pole, and we've got a spring-loaded waist clamp. But honestly, I don't even really think Batman needs that flight pole because his die-cast armor makes him quite planted. As long as both feet are flat on the ground, he should be quite stable. Now, this section is meant to be where you slot the kryptonite spear into, and it works, but only just. I wish it was a sculpted slot for this to slide in more securely with some foam padding in it, but as it stands, it sort of rattles around inside that port there. Then up front, for the nameplate, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, Armored Batman. So the battle damage pieces were a surprise inclusion to me because last time they double dipped, or they made us double dip, by giving us a clean one and a battle damage one as a separate Toy Fair exclusive release. This time, you get both looks in the same box as long as you cop the Deluxe. Battle damage chest plate with this gnarled up, destroyed front section, battle damaged gauntlet, and 2 battle damage shoulder pads. All of these pieces are plastic. And what makes that a bit of an issue is you're replacing die-cast armor plates with these. We'll discuss that in more detail a little bit later. And to complete the battle damage look, the helmet. This is a huge improvement versus what they gave us with the 1.0 battle damage armored Batman. Both eyes are visible, which is movie accurate, and you can move them. Then the expression. They changed it after the pre-order went live. The final production pics look completely different. This is completely different versus what they solicited, but that expression, while it looked like Ben and it looked like the Martha scene in the movie, that is not what I want immortalized on my shelf. This fierce expression, so much better. The skin texture, the lack of that dead-eyed stare look, and the surface detail on the helmet. This, like I said, huge upgrade over the 1.0. And the same thing can be said for the clean helmet. Now, the mouth plate that's in my 1.0's helmet is a 1.6 kit third-party upgrade. The standard mouth plates, we didn't get a neutral expression like this, which was very perplexing. The new one, that is Ben in the helmet. And it's die-cast. Plus, USB-C powered light up for the eyes and so much more surface detail. It's a little bit bigger, but shape and size-wise, just looks vastly superior to me. Oh, to go along with that helmet, 2 different expressions for the mouth plates. I'm partial to the neutral one because the battle damage helmet already has that fierce look to it, but teeth gritted and a screaming mouth plate. We'll try these both out, don't worry. But the kryptonite spear has received quite the glow up, quite literally. It's USB-C powered now for the LEDs, but we'll get there. Translucent green plastic tip. Almost looks like it's glowing even though it's not because of the green neon dry brush shading over the top. Black wash in the crevices, different sizes and shapes and textures for the various sections, plus the spike at the bottom. Now, to access the light up effect, you remove this middle section, which is kind of tricky to do. Then there's a channel which you run the cable through, plug it in up top, connect it to a USB-C power supply, and you can have this thing illuminated. We'll have to try this out when we plug in Batman's helmet later on. Speaking of plugging in Batman's helmet, you need to use this junction box and these 2 mini cables, plus a non-included USB-C one. This can either hook on the back of Batman's belt, or you can switch out the clip for the C-clamp and connect it to the flight pole. In terms of other weaponry, the classic BVS kryptonite gas grenade gun, you can extend the stock, and we've got some real metal loops on it, then some darker brown shading, and some lighter silver dry brushing. The kryptonite gas grenades can fit in the front, but just be careful, if you wedge them in too far, they can get stuck. There's 2 of them, a closed one and an open one. A smoke effect done in translucent green plastic to mimic this actually opening and gassing soups would have been so cool. Then lastly, for weaponry, his heavy-duty version of his grappling gun. Look at the sculpted detail on this. They've even painted the little silver rivets on the handles, and there's a black wash over the top. And lastly, an array of hands. They might be reused from the 1.0, I'm not sure, but I am loving Batman's trigger discipline with his finger sticking straight out rather than trying to wedge itself in one of those trigger guards. But shiny metallic paint on the back of the hand with the armor plating, speckling, and a black wash. Then matte grey on the inside. There's a lot of sculpted detail on the palm. Look at that mesh detail on the inside of the palm right there. This is a relaxed-ish open palm hand. Then this one is more of a gripping hand. Prying it open to pop weapons in there shouldn't be too tricky, but maybe heat up the hands first. Two more gripping hands. It's a relatively shallow grip. You might actually be okay with prying the fingers open. And then two closed fists that were already installed on him right out of the box. What we're going to do now is get Armored Batman 2.0 himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that for now. Stay tuned. Towards the end of the video, that's when we'll bust out the dynamic moving camera, do some sick poses. I promise you it will be worth it. But this figure is insane. It's not just the die-cast, although that's a big part of it. It's the proportions. It's the realism. This looks like Ben, standing in front of me in the armored suit, shrunk down to 1/6 scale, rotating on that turntable. It's the surface detail on the armor. Yes, there's plastic bits. Yes, there's die-cast bits, but you can't tell which is which. That might be a problem for some, but it's all meant to blend in, and it does. It does it flawlessly. And the base body fills out the armor, the suit, in a way that the 1.0 never did. Then we've got all of the battle damage pieces, and the interchangeable mouth plates, and the USB-C powered light-up eyes. This isn't just a 2.0. It feels like they've jumped all the way to 3.0. It is a marked improvement at every level versus the 1.0 and the Battle Damage Toy Fair exclusive. Up close and personal, kicking things off with this glorious helmeted head sculpt and the first of three mouth plates, just the neutral one. We'll move on to the angrier mouth plates and the battle damage helmet and all of the other battle damage pieces as we work our way through this segment. But this head sculpt is a 10. Like, undeniably so. That is Ben in the helmet in 1/6 scale. The likeness is coming through for me at every angle. The skin texture is so beautifully sculpted. The 5 o'clock shadow, there's even some greys in there. The line work on the lips, his mole is present. And then we get to the helmet itself. It is die-cast. A die-cast helmet. I have been asking for die-cast helmets with Iron Man figures and for stuff like this for years. The tactile feel, how cold to the touch and heavy it is, I cannot tell you how impressive this figure feels in hand, and the die-cast helmet is a big part of that. Look at the metal texture. That mottled effect on the surface was completely absent from the 1.0, and it's all over the entire thing with the new release. But it's the paint as well, the silver in the scratches highlighting them. The texture is so intense that the black wash is just soaked into every little nook and cranny and crevice, and there's a gold dry brush over the top. But this head sculpt has a party piece. Plug it in from the underside with the included cable, then connect it to the junction box and the USB-C cable to your power supply, flick the switch, et voila. Batman's eyes fully illuminated. There's a blue tint to the LEDs, which is movie accurate, and now that it's USB-C powered, you can have this figure permanently wired up with the eyes turned on in the collection, and that is 100% what I intend to do with mine. Okay, I've gotten in even closer now so that we can see that 5 o'clock shadow detail and the wrinkles on the lips, the teeth, they're subtly translucent painted gums, they're separate inset dentures so that the lips cast shadows on the teeth, adding some depth to the mouth plate. While I like this one, I don't know that I love it. The teeth look great. Once again, there's even a tongue in the mouth now, lots of shadow, lots of depth going on. The mole is present, the 5 o'clock shadow is on point, but the likeness to Ben isn't really coming through for me. So I'll likely stick with this one. I like the subtle smirk as well, by the way. It captures that vibe where Batman was so confident that he was going to kick Superman's ass wearing this armor using the kryptonite grenades and all of the other booby traps. He was a little cocky, and this represents that to a T. Now, with the LEDs turned off, the eyes still look pretty good. So say you can't run cables to your display and you have to have him displayed without the LEDs turned on, the white lenses, they look sort of illuminated even with the LEDs turned off. Of course, he looks a lot better with them illuminated. The texture on the armor plating is insane. Enough about the head sculpt, let's move on to the armor. They have done a remarkable job sculpting and painting the plastic armor bits to look exactly like the die-cast ones. You probably cannot tell which pieces are die-cast and which pieces are plastic, even though they're right next to each other. You might be thinking, well, couldn't they make everything out of plastic then and just lower the price a little? Maybe, but you cannot beat the cold touch feel, the weight of these die-cast elements and what they do for the figure as a whole. So the chest plate, die-cast. Shoulder pads as well. Down here for the lower bits for the boots. And the helmet. Everything else, sculpted plastic. Bicep guards, ab armor, crotch piece, thigh plate, gauntlet, all plastic. But like I said, the texture, the finish, the paint applications, it all blends in perfectly. Now, unfortunately, there's no way to attach the kryptonite gas grenade gun to this strap on his chest. It is movie accurate to be able to do that, but you couldn't do it with the first one, or the battle damage one, because the strap simply wasn't there. When he's battle damaged, there is no strap anymore. And you can't do it with the 2.0 either. When you remove the cape to switch it out for the wired one, the strap comes along with it. I wouldn't have minded being able to pop this on the wired cape, but the instructions do not mention if that is even a possibility. You'll see more of this when we take off the chest plate, put all the battle damage pieces on. The bat symbol is on his chest, underneath the chest armor. So he's wearing the normal bat suit underneath all of this armor plating. The neck seal is a separate piece as well, and there's articulation at the base of it, which gives you so much more range versus the 1.0. The back armor, also die-cast. This spinal column section is sculpted PVC plastic, but there's so much weathering on it. It's a lot smoother than the rough textured metal bit, so in universe, this probably made of something else versus the rest of the armor. The gauntlet is pinned into the bicep guard, and it's a functional rotating joint. When you bend the elbow, all of this stuff moves along with it. Just be careful not to pinch the fabric inside that elbow joint. Now, the gauntlet can push off the hands if you're not careful, but I've found if you separate this strap from the bicep, it had stuck to the fabric for the undersuit on my copy out of the box. You can move this up, move the gauntlet up, then you've got full access to the wrist peg. You can properly push the hand right on there. I'm pleased to see the gold belt and all of the other gold accents. Just be careful of the gauntlet blades. These are plastic, but they are so sharp. I sliced myself on that gauntlet blade as I was going through articulation. There's this black speckling effect over the top of the gold and some silver chipping and dry brushing along the edges, then a black wash in the crevices. So many layers of paint just on the belt alone. And the bluish grey undersuit with the faux wrinkles that have been printed on the surface. There's muscle padding underneath the armor plates. This is essentially a BVS 2.0. They've just added all of the armor plating to it. You can't remove everything and then get a BVS 2.0 though, because there's strategically placed little Velcro pads. They're stitched in to the batsuit. Just take it all in. The surface detail, the fine, mottled, gritty texture, the scratches, the dents, the black washes, these gold blades on his boots, and we've got actuating, moving knee pads integrated into the armor plating. I don't love this section right here, but it's movie accurate. The reason why it's not my favorite is because it collides with the belt and it limits range of motion. You'll see what I mean when we get to articulation. I thought there'd be way more reuse than there actually is. Even the boots are new. We've got toe articulation now. It's super limited, but it's there. And the spikes underneath, they're different shapes and sizes. There's less of them, but they're significantly bulkier. There's some light weathering on the bottom, most of the weathering, though, on top. We're almost ready to look at the battle damage pieces, but the cape. I saved it for last, with the clean look, because it's actually good for once. Normally, I'm ranting about how terrible Hot Toys capes are. Not this time. It's lightweight fabric. There's a lot of it, but it just drapes and hangs so naturally. It's tattered at the bottom. It's weathered on the surface. The texture is so accurate to what Batman was wearing in this outfit on screen. And we get a wired cape as well. Drape cape and wired cape in the same box with the same figure. Absolutely no need for a custom cape this time. The 1.0's cape was good. This one, so much better. Okay, so step one with the battle damage install is to remove the clean helmet. It's just connected to the neck with a double ball peg. Then you can bring in the battle damaged helmet. It's the same exact receptacle for the neck connector. Plug it right in. Then for the shoulder pads, Velcro up top, and this locking and keying mechanism, you rotate the shoulder pads out, then you can remove them. So the battle damage ones are labeled on the inside. Make sure you put left on the left side and right on the right. The gauntlet I'll have to do off camera because it's very fiddly. You need to disconnect this peg that goes into the bicep armor, then you can slide it off. When you're putting the new one back on, slide it over the forearm, push this peg in place inside that circular receiver. That was so annoying to do. Seriously, take your time with it, but eventually you will get it pegged in. The way I managed to do it was wedge something underneath the receiver. That created enough space for the peg to get seated properly inside the connector. The next step is to unclip the cape. Then, including the strap, you can remove the entire thing. After you've done that, unbuckle the chest armor on both sides. It's just pegged in there, and you can slide it up over the torso. Just thought I'd stop halfway because the bat symbol and the pecs and all of the texture for the bat suit underneath. This, I already said it, but it's pretty much just a 2.0 BVS with all of the armor plating tacked on top, and that's exactly what it should be. But the addition of the bat symbol, which wasn't there with any of the previous releases, I love to see it. I'm likely going to regret trying to do this on camera, but bringing in the new chest plate, it slides over the top. There we go. Then you can push in the retaining clips to lock it in. And then the cape, plug it in up top. Make sure you push these clips in all the way. Otherwise, the cape may fall out when you're moving the wires round. This head sculpt, the battle damage pieces, takes this figure to the next level. Look at that sculpt. That is Ben Affleck. The wrinkling underneath his bottom eyelids, the teeth, the mole, the skin texture once again, the nose underneath this front part for the helmet, and the second eye. That was not visible with the 1.0. They had a lens over the top with a light up effect. So inaccurate. This, way better. And we've got moving eyes. The head sculpt is hollow, so to access them, you don't need to use the tool if you don't want to. You can move them around. I found that having them spaced slightly wide set because of the sculpt of the helmet just helps them look a touch more natural. It's a really intense expression, but it works for the battle damage armor pieces. Now, I'm not sure if I want to remove the die-cast chest plate, both die-cast shoulder pads, and replace them with plastic ones, because all of these battle damage pieces are plastic. He's still very heavy because of the base body, and there's die-cast bits down below here for his boots, but I can't bring myself to do that, I don't reckon. I'm likely going to try and install most of these battle damage pieces on my 1.0 Armored Batman battle damage to give him an upgrade versus having the 2.0 wearing all of this stuff. But Superman just absolutely made mincemeat of this armor. Look at this gauntlet, how dented and warped it all is. The scratches up top, the chest plate, that's all gross and gnarled looking. Even this section up top on the collar, this shoulder pad, it's all bubbly now. And it's not like with the originals where the clean one was clean and the battle damage one was battle damage. There's enough scratches and dents and texture on the surface that even though we've only switched out a few bits and pieces, it still looks like a cohesive thing. And finally, the wired cape. There's wires along the edges. This one is significantly more battle damage. There's straight up holes through it, and there's a lot more weathering. Technically speaking, it's only meant for the battle damaged look. That's why there's so many holes in it. But if you wanted to use the wired cape with the clean armor pieces, there's absolutely nothing stopping you from doing that. The only issue is, number one, all of the battle damage, but number two, the chest strap is permanently attached to the drape cape, so it won't be 100% movie accurate to display him with this cape, but if you don't care about having that chest strap on there, just go for the wired cape. The jury's still out for me whether or not I go battle damaged or clean with this. I'm leaning towards clean. Let's put all of the clean armor bits back on, then we can move on to comparisons. I've also taken the liberty of connecting the Kryptonite Spear to the USB-C power supply, and oh my word, it was a pain in the ass to do it. The little connector, because it's a specific extra small connector that goes through the middle section, is broken on mine, so if I so much as look at it the wrong way, if I bump it, the LEDs turn off. But with the LEDs turned on, the spear looks like $1,000,000. I will try my best to get this guy fully illuminated on the shelf permanently because, like I said, he's so much better with the lights turned on. For a quick side-by-side comparison, 1.0 on the right, 2.0 on the left, eyes are glowing, armor is glistening, he's got the gold accents. If you've got the 1.0, do you sell it to get this new one? I think you sort of need to. Everything about the new figure, especially if you get the deluxe, vastly superior. You've got the battle damage pieces, likeness to Ben Affleck is actually there this time, and superior articulation. Haven't even mentioned the word diecast yet, but that is another compelling reason to upgrade. With them standing next to each other, they look similar, but my eye immediately is drawn to the piece on the left. Then, next to InArt's version of Superman, I don't mind if I do. This Superman is sensational, and next to battle damaged armored Batman 2.0 from Hot Toys, perfect pairing. Yep, another perfect pairing. BVS 2.0 by Hot Toys, custom mouthplate by Jackson Zhu, custom cape as well. But these are complementary pieces. They just work so nicely next to each other. If you were to add in Wonder Woman, InArt's Henry Cavill Supes, then these two, as part of your display, I reckon that would represent BVS perfectly. And finally, Battle Damaged v Battle Damaged. It's not often that they condense two standalone releases into one deluxe set, but that's what they've done with this Armored Batman 2.0. 2.0 on the left, 1.0 on the right. Probably didn't need to tell you that though, because the 1.0 looks so bored, he literally does not want to be here. I had to get a custom head sculpt to fix that because I cannot stand this stock Hot Toys sculpt. They fixed it with the 2.0, and the armor is more detailed everywhere, not just with the battle damage. Then we've got two capes, all of the clean bits, die-cast content. The other eye is visible, which is movie accurate, and you can move both eyes. Not to mention how much better the proportions are. Articulation is solid with the 1.0, but he's too lanky and tall, which is what they rectified with this new release. Going over articulation, I'm not expecting much out of him in terms of posability, but you never know. Let's find out what he can do. Starting off with his helmet. Ball joint at the base of the neck, double ball peg underneath the helmet itself, looking forward to there, which is honestly more range than I expected. Looking up to there, swivel, and plenty of pivot side to side. Shoulder pads move around a bit, arms will go up to there on clicky ratchets, maybe one more click, yep, going forward and back, friction joints, butterfly at the shoulder that hinges up and down. And look how flush his arms go down by his sides as well. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow, getting you to 90, given the size of the gauntlets, that makes sense. And for the wrist peg, it's a hinge and swivel. Armor plating on the torso restricts range, crunching forward to there, going back to there, further than forward, swivel, and a little bit of pivot side to side. Legs on soft ratchets, going forward to there and springing back down a touch, going out to there. The armor plating gets in the way as it collides with the belt. That's also on a ratchet. Swivel at the upper thigh. Articulated knee pad is a nice touch. ratchets at the knee, double bend, getting you to about 90. And a hinge and swivel, I think, for the ankles, good for forward and back, rotation, ankle tilt, and lastly, toe articulation. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing, don't get me wrong, I'm so happy we have the battle damage pieces, and if going plastic was the only way they could include them budget-wise and sculpt-wise, then I get it. But having to replace a lot of the die-cast on this figure with plastic just to display him battle damaged, don't really love that idea. The second annoying thing is the diorama display base. Number 1, there's just not much room to pose Batman on it. Visually speaking, it's beautiful, but there's not a ton of space to work with. Number 2, when you plug the flight pole in, it's a very loose fit, and considering Batman is quite heavy, you want that to be a satisfying, tight connection so that it can hold Batman up if he happens to lean against the flight pole when you've got him in a pose. Then number 3, having this port as the means of plugging the kryptonite spear into the display base is very lazy. It should have been a sculpted slot for this to slide into securely because, as it stands, once again, an extremely loose fit. The third annoying thing is the clip mechanism on the inside of the chest plate. To remove the die-cast one, you have to undo the clips, then the same thing can be said for the battle damage one when you want to install it on Batsy. Those pegs, they look and feel very fragile. I really don't know why this doesn't close up with magnets. The first cool thing, I love it when this sort of stuff works out, but if you already own plastic battle damage armored Batman and you've got the new one on the way, I'm pleased to report, while this doesn't properly snap in place on the neck connector, it sits on the neck just fine and it still allows you to articulate it. But now, better likeness, way better expression. It has both eyes visible, which is more movie accurate, and we've got moving eyes. So essentially, it's a free upgrade. The second cool thing, Hot Toys, please keep doing this with your future Batman figures. Drape cape and a wired one. This time, I don't think you need to go custom for Batman's cape. Thin, lightweight fabric. The drape one works perfectly. The wires are strong in the wired cape. Tattered at the bottom, weathering over the top, and the textured weave on the surface, very movie accurate. The third cool thing, part A, is the bat symbol visible underneath the chest plate. Such a nice little attention to detail that wasn't there on any of the 3 previous versions of this guy that they made. And part B, the in-hand feel, the cold touch metal, the weight of this thing. When you get yours in hand, I promise you'll be blown away. Wrapping up on Armored Batman 2.0, the deluxe version by Hot Toys. If you are a BVS fan, if you like Ben Affleck as Batman, if you dig the armored suit, if you answered yes to all of the above, you must have this. Like, it is undeniably just that good. Sell your 1.0, sell your black chrome, sell your battle damaged, get this. The diecast alone makes it worth it. The in-hand feel is unbelievable. Then we've got the accessories, then we've got the battle damage pieces, the improved proportions, the articulation, the bat symbol on his chest underneath the armor, both styles of cape, wired and drape, and a diorama display base, USB-C powered light-ups for his eyes, and the kryptonite spear. I could go on, but I really don't think I need to. At the end of this video, this Armored Batman is a must-have. Like, I don't think anyone can debate that. Yes, the 1.0 was good. It started something, but this 2.0 is an improvement at every level. It's a top-to-bottom overhaul. They have taken it back to the drawing boards, and they have given us something truly spectacular. So yeah, long story short, I'm in love with this figure, and if you get it, you will be as well. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down that way, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.